Welcome to The Explainer. We're all about digging into the big topics and breaking them down, using the actual data and documents that tell the real story.
So today, we're tackling a big one, the housing affordability crisis right in the middle of one of America's fastest-growing regions. We're going to use Wake County's own reports to really get to the bottom of the squeeze, the hidden barriers, and what they're trying to do about it.
All right, so to really wrap our heads around this, we've got to start with the sheer scale of the problem. And it all kicks off with some pretty mind-blowing growth.
Yeah, you're seeing that right. It's not a typo. Between 1970 and 2017, Wake County's population exploded by nearly 350%. For comparison, the entire state grew by less than 100% in that same time. I mean, think about that. All those new people. They all need a place to live, and that has put some serious pressure on the housing market.
Okay, in this slide, this is where the story gets really clear. Look at that disconnect. Home values and rent, they've absolutely skyrocketed over the last decade. But look at the income for renters. It just hasn't kept up, not even close. That massive gap is what we're talking about when we say affordability crisis.
So you'll hear this term cost burden thrown around a lot. This is what it means. It's the official benchmark. And it's pretty simple, right? If you're paying more than 30% of what you make just for housing, it means every other part of your budget gets squeezed. Food, transportation, healthcare, everything.
And look, this isn't some small fringe issue. We're talking about a quarter of everyone in Wake County. But the number that just floors me is for the lowest income renters, 83%. That's just staggering. It means for more than 4 out of 5 of those households, just paying rent is a monthly struggle.
But here's the thing. It's not as simple as just more people, not enough houses. The data shows there are some deeper, more systemic things going on that are making this whole problem way worse.
And this really paints a picture of what some call a tale of two counties. You've got Western Wake, close to all the big job hubs like RTP and downtown Raleigh. That's where you see higher opportunity, higher incomes. Then you have Eastern Wake, which is more rural, fewer jobs, and poverty is more concentrated. It's a stark reminder that where you can afford to live can basically decide your economic future.
The data also forces us to look at some pretty significant racial disparities. I mean, homeownership is one of the main ways families build wealth, right? Well, this chart, using data from just last year, shows a really tough picture when it comes to getting a mortgage.
And this isn't just us reading between the lines of the data. The county itself called this out in its own analysis. They flat out said that discriminatory lending patterns are a major barrier to fair housing. It's another layer making it harder for communities of color to get a foothold.
So, with all these complex problems, what's the plan? Let's get into the county's strategy, and you'll see it's not about finding one magic bullet. It's more like a multi-tool approach.
So here's their game plan for the next 5 years, broken down into 3 main pillars. First, increase and preserve. Basically, build more affordable housing and keep the stuff we already have. Second, reduce obstacles. That means tackling the policies and rules that get in the way. And third, provide support. Pretty straightforward. Give direct help to folks who need it the most.
And these aren't just ideas on a whiteboard. They're backed by real money. We're talking millions in federal grants that are the engine for all of this. This money funds everything from fixing up a senior's home to building brand new apartment complexes to providing direct rental assistance for really vulnerable people.
Okay, so that's the high-level strategy. But what does it actually look like in practice? Let's zoom in on one really powerful approach they're using. It's called permanent supportive housing. The idea behind permanent supportive housing, or PSH, is, well, it's pretty revolutionary, but it's also incredibly simple. It's a model called housing first. Instead of making people jump through a million hoops to earn a home, you give them a stable place to live first. Then, you offer them the support services they need, things like case management and healthcare, to help them stay there and get back on their feet. And you can see how this model directly tackles the real problems people are facing. When you actually ask tenants what they need, it's not some abstract concept. It's practical stuff. Help navigating the benefits system, help finding a landlord, help just getting on a wait list. PSH is designed to do exactly that. Check this out. Here's a perfect local example of this in action. It's the Kings Ridge Apartments. So these folks live right alongside everyone else, but they get access to all those crucial services that can help them rebuild their lives in a stable community. It's just a great model. And the big question is, does it work? The answer is a resounding yes. The data is clear.
Through this focused approach of Housing Plus support, an incredible 70% of veterans at one local center successfully moved from the shelter into their own rental housing. That is a life-changing number.
But as great as these successes are, nobody is declaring victory just yet. The work is far from over, and the county's always listening to residents, and that feedback really shines a light on the tough challenges that are still ahead.
This quote right here, from a real person in the community, it just gets to the heart of one of the biggest frustrations. Housing vouchers are supposed to be a lifeline for low-income families, but what good are they if landlords won't accept them? Getting more landlords on board is a huge priority.
So, looking ahead, the county has a really clear to-do list. They want to buy land in those high-opportunity areas to build affordability in from the start. They've got a hard target. Get landlord participation in voucher programs up to 70%. They're working with local towns to change zoning rules that get in the way, and they're looking at redeveloping older public housing into modern, mixed-income communities.
So that brings us back to the big question. What's it going to take? The biggest takeaway for me is that there's no easy fix. There's no silver bullet here. This is a problem that took decades to create, and it's going to take a sustained, all-hands-on-deck effort from everyone, the government, private companies, nonprofits, all of us, to solve it.
Ultimately, the strategy is pretty clear. You've got to build new units, preserve the affordable housing we already have, and support the people who are struggling the most. As Wake County keeps pushing forward, the real test will be if these plans can finally start to close a gap that's been growing for decades and really make sure that all this growth means opportunity for everyone who calls this place home.